them tears gon' come and go. Baby, you just gotta make up your mind that every little thing's gonna be alright. Baby, don't you know all of them tears gon' come and go. Baby, you just gotta make up your mind. We decided we're gonna be alright.
Hi the mic is a little far away. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be talking about when content creators become out of touch or they get in and over their heads. In this video I'm going to be talking about Emergency Intercom because I used to watch them a lot, like a lot, like a year or 2 years ago before I stopped watching their content because I felt that I no longer resonated with their content and I just got busy, so like I just stopped watching it. I guess I'm also a content creator. I've been a content creator like since like social media started. It's just I've been here since like Vine basically, because I remember seeing Anya's. I've never really seen Drew's videos. I saw Anya's videos pop up, like the one that was like, I got money for Mac, bitch. And in her other videos, they were really funny to me at the time. I think I was like 13 when I first got on Vine, and I'm around their age too, so like I'm like a year older than Anya, and I'm the same age as Drew, or Drew is like, I think he's like 6 months older than me, but I grew up with them. I've been like on all social medias. I've never really caught a break or anything, and I've always liked being a content creator. But yeah, I started on Vine. Nothing really happened there. Like I don't think I was really that funny. And then also when YouTube started getting bigger, like I had well, obviously I'm on YouTube now, but like you can see that I've been on YouTube for a while. I just had a 5-year hiatus. I'm back though. And then where I got like a lot of a following before I got hacked, on TikTok, I had like quite a few followers. I think I had like 12.7, which is not a lot, 12.7k followers. But yeah, I've always liked creating videos. I've always liked like using video as a medium. But like as I got older, I realized that like I don't want fame. Like I don't want to be like under scrutiny or like under the public eye like some of these content creators are, like YouTubers who like are like they went on and did like better things, or they moved on from like YouTube. Like for example, Troye Sivan, he has a music career now. Emma Chamberlain, it's funny because I was like making a joke about Emma Chamberlain like when I first started this channel. Nothing crazy, it was just like my sister was wearing a scrunchie, so I was like, Emma who. But yeah, I just feel like now that I gotten older, I kind of want to be like recognized for my craft, or like just me editing videos rather than like me as a person, because I feel like no one's perfect, and like I don't really do that well with like being like criticized, because I take everything personally. That's why I try not to be problematic, or I try not to like say something crazy, and I try to look at everything with an objective lens, even though sometimes I make mistakes and stuff like that. But I just feel like overall, as I got older, I no longer view fame the same way as like I did when I first started YouTube and when I first got on TikTok. Now I realize now that I really love just making videos and editing them, and like the process of making videos is what I enjoy more than actually like obviously if like a lot of people see my videos, I wouldn't be mad, but I'm like, that also gives me anxiety. But I just like the process of making videos. So like when I first started college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just been doing photography for so long that because I like just being creative in general, and like creating stuff and like showing, like expressing, like having something have meaning. So like when I did photography, I really enjoyed that. But in the photography program or like degree or whatever, we had like to take like video classes too, and I found that I really enjoyed video editing more than I did photography, which was like kind of a hard realization, because I also like photography, but it's just like the way that photography works in like the art world is so much different than like how it works in like a social media realm. And they're kind of a little bit interchangeable, but not really. Like in the art world, it's like more highly criticized. It's like very like, I don't know. It's like in my class, they would always say, if you're a photographer, you're highly detailed and you care about details in general. and you're like very detail oriented, and I agree with that. I'm very detail oriented, but the thing is, I like let a lot of detail slide just for the aesthetic, and that's something in my photography classes that didn't really pass on, because you have to be intentional with every little thing. Like if there's a speck of dust, you have to explain why that speck of dust is there, and if you can, you're gonna get points off because it wasn't intentional. But I'm like, for me, I'm like, I just like the aesthetic of it. I just like taking a photo. I like making things cute. And I guess that wasn't enough in my photo classes. But I already got my degree, so I'm not going to delve too much into it. I'm talking about more video editing and being a content creator, like on a social media aspect. But because I'm not like an expert social media person, but like I feel like I've been around. I've been around for a really long time. Whew. What was I gonna say? So I really enjoy the process of video editing, and as I gotten older, I feel like I want to be recognized for that more, if that makes sense. And then I realized, like, maybe I just want to be like a director, because one of the jobs that I've always wanted is a photography director. It's like the person that organizes everything to make it look cute, rather than like getting like fame because you're the person, if that makes sense. And that's like something that I had to like realize that I liked more. And yeah, so just like a small little anecdote to segue into when content creators get in over their head, because I've seen it a lot. And that's also one of my fears. It's like I don't want to become famous, because then I feel like I will lose myself, and I don't want to lose myself, because I already have identity issues. Like I have imposter syndrome, so every time I do something, I feel like, did I even do that? Like I feel like I'm a fraud, basically. And so I feel like if I get famous, like for that reason, like how some people just get famous for being like they're doing what they're doing, I feel like I don't want to lose myself. That's why I'm like, nah, if you fame differently, and as I stated before, I would want to be recognized for my work and like the stuff that I make, rather than like me as a person, like kind of like Kim Kardashian, like her as a person. But basically, talking about Emergency Intercom, so I feel like the reason why they got so famous, especially Anna and Drew, is because when they first started out, they just seemed so real. Like we just seemed like we were just friends. Like we never met them, but like they just seemed so real. And then they always had like that friend group that everyone like they would mention, like you didn't really know about them, but they would just talk about them. And you know how like your regular friends just mentions people. That's how I felt. And then their podcast, they would say like some out of pocket stuff, but it wasn't out of touch yet, like when their podcast first started. But the scrutiny happened with them when they made an distasteful joke about, it wasn't even a joke, but like they were like kind of coming for Greta Thunberg. They're like, what is she doing? She like fell off. And then they were saying I didn't really see that video. I was just seeing clips on TikTok. And they were also saying stuff about Malala, and I don't know what they said about her, but they were just saying that they fell off and stuff. And everyone was like, yeah, y'all are not funny, y'all are weird. And then they were like canceling them, basically. And when you get canceled online, cancel culture, they like go back into your past and like see everything you like ever said or did. And then they found that Anya has said the N-word in the past, and then she also posted like a dead baby on her Instagram, which I didn't know about. Like when I would watch them and like I liked them and supported them, I never knew they did this because I wasn't aware of their problematic behavior. I think I did know about Anya apologizing, but I didn't know about Drew because I didn't really follow him during Vine era. But Drew literally said the N-word, and he was like saying it with his whole chest. So that changed my perception of him. So yeah, that's why I'm saying like I feel like fame does change people, especially them, because like they started getting like more brand deals. I think they had like a brand deal with Chanel, if I'm not mistaken. I think they like changed their studio. Like they used to do their podcast in their house, but now they went to a studio, but then they canceled that studio. Like they were working with that studio, but then they canceled it and they were just working with themselves. So I guess my thing is, I just feel like at a certain point, like you can't try to like relate to like your old fan base if they're not like growing with you, because I feel like they're now in a different like level, class level. Like they're no longer like me. I literally have no prospects like them, so like I can't relate to them. And I think that's why I stopped watching their podcast, because some of their stuff stopped becoming relatable, and I just felt like it wasn't for me, and I just simply stopped watching and I stopped keeping up with them. However, I did see some of their little like snippets of their like their recent videos. Some of the parts were funny, but a lot of the criticism also came like when Drew got canceled. They were also saying that his psyop corner, what was it, psyop time, I forgot what it was called, he was just stealing tweets from creators on Twitter or X, and he was not original. And then they were like coming for Anya again, and they're saying she's just a mean girl. But I also wanted to read their apology, because they just now posted their apology on Instagram, and I wanted to read it just so we can like unpack it and see if it just sounds genuine. Because like a lot of people in the comments were saying, me submitting my assignment at 11:59 p.m. Someone said, you're almost 30, you're on your phone so much you can't even put it down to shoot your podcast, and you're somehow uninformed. And they're like, right. Another comment was for the people saying that, oh, you guys just want them to be canceled, or y'all just want to be canceled. They've previously gotten away with their old vines of them being racist, Anya's old tweets, and even in the podcast them making very tone-deaf political jokes. And this time people wanted them to just take accountability and have some self-awareness. Yes, this podcast is not meant to be taken seriously, but that doesn't mean that people can't be offended about the things they say. They don't advocate for anything, not because they're affiliated with brands, but because they have the privilege not to, which is a problem with the political landscape of things. Especially half the time fans chanting fandom cleanse are probably some 15-year-olds who still have no idea what they want to do after high school. Not to sugarcoat things, but Anya and Drew aren't shy away from 30, so yes, they are adults that have to take accountability for the things they say online. True fans just wanted them to take accountability for once. LOL. I think that's also a real comment, but I'm gonna read their apology post. It's I guess I'm taking it as Anya and Drew both said this because they use we a lot. So it says, we've seen all the feedback from last week's episode, and we want to say sincerely we're sorry. We're incredibly lucky to have this job, this community, and this platform. The fact that we get to do what we love because of your support is never lost on us. This past week has made it clearer than ever how much responsibility comes with that privilege. We wrote countless versions of this trying to get it right, but the honest truth is simple. What we said about Greta and Malala last week was reckless, and it does go directly against why we started this podcast in the first place. If we had been more informed about the reality of the work being done by Greta for Palestine and human rights across the globe, we wouldn't have made those jokes. We were out of touch and careless, especially in the moment that calls for sensitivity and awareness. There's unimaginable evil in this world right now, and we've struggled with how to navigate that. How to be honest with you, to express the heartbreak we feel alongside you, while also trying to make a show rooted in comedy. We're committed to continuing to educate ourselves. We've grown up with you alongside you, and we owe you so much to the people who listen to us. This platform gives us our voices reach, and we have a responsibility to use that reach thoughtfully. We've never claimed to have all the answers or be perfectly informed, but we do recognize that even offhand comments have weight, especially online, and it's on us to do better. We love you, and we are so grateful for you making this show possible. Okay. So, on the surface, it does seem genuine. I don't know them, so I don't know if they actually meant to genuinely. However, from what I know about their podcast, they always seem like nonchalant and like they don't care anything. So, them like making this statement does feel a little disingenuous, because they never really showed us that part of themselves to us. They always want to be like the cool girl, the cool boy, like they don't really care, nothing affects them. So that's why I feel like a lot of people aren't taking this seriously. Like Greta Thunberg has literally done so much for climate change, and then like they were just like the punchline wasn't even like a punchline. It was just them being mean to Greta Thunberg, calling her the B word and stuff like that. I didn't even know what they said about Malala, but if it was about the same content, I didn't even know the full context. I literally thought it was just about the cut the cameras dead ass. And because I remember everyone was eating that meme up, so I was like, oh, like why are y'all like, it's like that friend that's too woke. But this time it did mean something. Honestly, I'm not even surprised like about that, because like a lot of people back then were very unfiltered, and they didn't think about their digital footprint as much. And a lot of people, like, I guess a lot of people back then, like, didn't really, like, it goes back to that video I made about dark humor. Like, is it dark humor or is it just racism? And a lot of people, I guess, didn't think critically back then about that. But I'm glad we're having these conversations, because it's like kind of forming more of the zeitgeist, or whatever that word is called. We're like having more discussions about this, and we're informing more people as we go. And like the younger generations, they're becoming more, what's that word, like they're more aware about what they're saying. Like, I feel like when I was growing up with the internet, because it was so new, and like social media, because I remember when I was on social media, I was even on MySpace, everyone was so unfiltered. I'm not saying it was like negative or positive, it was just like a neutral statement. Like, we were just so unfiltered. And like, people would just post anything at 10 years old. First of all, why were we exposed to that at 10 years old? So I feel like that's why it's like we're like, the older Gen Z people are like different than the younger Gen Z, and also Gen Alpha and stuff like that. But I'm also glad that we're having these conversations and holding people accountable, and also just like making the younger generations more aware, and making them more aware of their digital footprints. Because like, at the end of the day, that's all we can do as the older generation, is like teach the younger generation from our mistakes. So that's my thoughts on this. This video became longer than I thought it would, but I just wanted to talk about when creators become over their head, and my fear of me. I'm actively working towards not doing that, and I truly hope that Anya and Drew do actually learn from their mistakes this time, and actually apologize genuinely. Because that's, from that comment, they were saying that that's all they wanted was accountability. But I'm not really like in the Emergency Intercom fandom like that much, because like I kind of stopped watching them like a year or 2 years ago. So that was just my thoughts on it. I wanted to like let the dust settle before I talked about this. But yes, thank you everyone, have a great day, bye.